Hey, what's up guys, it's Bonk, and welcome back to the 6th Slimekeep Devlog. So these past few days I've been putting in a ton of hours working on Slimekeep, definitely more than I have on any other previous devlog, so I think I've gotten a lot of progress done, and I'm pretty happy with the work that I got done, and hope you guys like it also. I'm also going to call this devlog my 5,000 subscriber special because it is much longer than any of my other devlogs, and I did get a lot of really cool things done in it. So yeah, thank you everyone for 5,000 subscribers. That's kind of insane. We've been getting so many subscribers recently, so thank you everyone for that, and I hope you enjoy the devlog. So my main focus for this devlog was to make a bunch of new slimes, but before I did that, I started working on a kind of dash effect, because my current dash was looking a little plain, you couldn't really tell, and I ended up actually removing the old kind of yellow dash effect. So I found some kind of dash ghost effect on YouTube, and sooner or later I had this really cool dash effect. I think it's pretty cool, so let me know what you guys think of it in the comments. The next thing I did was add a kind of trail render my player, which follows him around, and I ended up actually kind of changing this in the future, but you'll have to see. And yeah, I kind of just wanted to make my player stand out a bit more, but yeah, it was just kind of a test at first. And with those small effects done, we can get into the juicy part of this video, making new slimes. So I started working on these new kind of projectile slime because I really wanted to have a projectile slime in the game. But unfortunately, I can't really show you much of this time-lapse footage because I actually hit a hotkey which holds on and switch my games from my live stream. But I eventually got the art done and I started working on getting them implemented actually into my game. So I imported all of the art, started resizing them, actually making them. And inside of my slime script, I kind of made an enum so I can choose what different kind of slime I want to actually use. And based off that enum, I can activate different things what's inside of my main slime script. And so I started getting all that kind of set up, started writing the code for the slime, and sooner or later I kind of had the basic slimes imported, and just the basic AI was kind of sort of done. And I wanted each slime in this game to have the kind of new spawn animation, so I made this guy, the projectile slime, actually kind of just fade in from left to right, and I'll kind of just color from left to right, which I think is a pretty just basic but simple and easy spawn animation. And after a ton of hours of work, I basically had the very basic projectile form number 1, where he'll just move and he'll shoot a different amount of projectiles at you, and then he also has a weapon that will rotate around him. And I think it was a really good start. I started to do some work on the projectiles, but yeah, he just looked good for now. Another thing that I really wanted to make sure that I had was unique death animations for every single form of all my different slimes. So I started making a bunch of different slime death animations for every single form of my projectile slime. So I kind of had them where it just split from the left and the right, and I'm really happy with how these turned out. The art I think looks really smooth and clean, and I'm really happy with these animations. Then I actually wanted to make sure I would have each of my different slimes set up. So I started working on these different projectile slimes, and I started working on their different forms. So I made prefabs out of all the different forms for them, and I also have, different weapons, all this different kind of stuff for each different sprite. I have make sure the bullets will shoot faster, they'll have bigger bullets, bigger weapons. I made all this different kind of unique art for every single slime, which I'm really happy about. I also had it where I have a separate pivot point for the gun, so it'll actually look like it's rotating around the slime. So yeah, I pretty much spent a while setting them up for all the different unique slimes, and yeah, I think it's pretty cool, and I actually got them upgrading and up and running. But before you get into that, you might have noticed that my old kind of slime animations, they kind of get cut off, they don't really look that good. So I spent some time actually updating and kind of smoothing out the kind of slime jump animations, so they actually are much smoother now. They kind of end faster, make my slimes actually look much more better and not feel like they get cut off by any animations, which is actually, I'm really glad I made that change and actually fixed the issue. But getting back to the projectile slimes, here's kind of the final product. They all had different weapons, and as you would upgrade, they would shoot more bullets, the bullets would get bigger, and yeah, I also added a trail render to the bullets. I actually ended up removing this because I thought it was a little bit distracting. But I can see my slimes will upgrade, they'll shoot different bullets, and right now they can't kill my player, but I'm going to add that later in another video just for testing. And they also have a little shoot animation, just kind of where it'll squish up. Pretty happy with how this turned out, and yeah. Next thing I did is, now that I had the art for my deaths for my projectile slimes, I actually started importing that art into Unity, actually getting so whenever my slimes will die, it'll play that animation. It's pretty straightforward, and I'm happy with the result. And so after many hours of work, here's what my kind of projectile slimy boys looked like. I can shoot at them, they play their death animation, and they'll just shoot different projectiles at you depending on what kind of size they are at or what kind of upgrade stance they're at. And I'm really happy with how these guys turned out. I have a lot of tweaks to do, and none of these kind of things or looks are final. Still a lot of tweaks to do, just tweaking values, all that kind of stuff. But overall, I'm pretty happy with how these turned out, and it is pretty nice. After I made the projectile slime, I was getting kind of tired of making new slimes, and so I started working on a new programming based kind of challenge, and was going to be a new mechanic for the game where you could drop different weapons. And this was a pretty interesting challenge, but after a few hours, I kind of had this really basic weapon drop system. I could press G and then it would drop this weapon, and it would just make a new kind of weapon pickup, except it wouldn't really cost any money. I also made it so you can't drop your pistol and just small changes like that, which worked pretty well. But there was a major problem. See, whenever I shot a bullet with a weapon, dropped it on the ground, and picked it back up, it would not store the data that I shot that bullet, which was a major problem because I could just drop weapons, pick them back up, and refill all my ammo and shots. So I ended up fixing this by making a new kind of class inside of my weapon drop, and so whenever I drop a weapon, it will store that data, that dropped weapon. Then whenever I walk over that weapon again, it will send that data back to my second weapon slot and remember about how many bullets I have left. Here's kind of the code behind this. It pretty much updates my secondary weapon slot's data based off of the data that was sent over when I dropped that weapon. I'm really happy with how this worked out, and it was a really good test and challenge of kind of my knowledge of classes, and I'm really happy that I actually ended up getting working in the end. I still need to add some animations and extra polish, but just getting the foundation set up is more than enough to make me happy. Also, here's a clip of all my projectile slimes with bullet trails. I thought it looked really hectic. So you can see, I just removed them, which I think looks much better. So as some of you know, recently I've been playing a lot of Enter the Gungeon, and one thing I noticed that the game does really well is having knockback to the enemies, which I think makes the enemies look so much more satisfying and just feels so much more natural. And so I actually started working on a kind of knockback system, and let's just say at the beginning that did not go too well. And within a couple of hours, I kind of had a basic knockback system in place. The thing is, I didn't really stick with it because it felt really clunky and just not that smooth overall. But I will try to come back to this later, and hopefully can get a really smooth knockback system working in place. I don't have too much knockback, just a little bit of knockback when my enemies die, which I think will make them look much better and add a bunch to my game. Another small change I made was I made my Projectile Slime number 1's weapon much bigger, just because his old weapon it was tiny and he shoot tiny projectiles which you could barely see at all. So I upgraded his kind of weapon, and now as you can see, I think his bullets, you can actually see them much clearer, you can actually dodge them if you want, and it was a small but necessary change. Then I started working on my next slime, which would be the bomb slime, and I thought this would be a pretty good addition because a lot of games have a kind of bomb slime or exploding slime, and this guy, you could use to kill. He would run up to you, if you got it close enough to you, he would explode, and depending on how big he'd grown, like what the upgrade size he's in, he would have a bigger explosion, which I think would be pretty cool. And then also, you can use this guy, you can shoot at him when he's in the middle of a mob of other enemy slimes, and you can use him to explode them, which I think is, another cool effect. So he can be risky, but he can actually be beneficial. So I started up drawing a bunch of the art for my bomb slimes, all the different forms, and it was just an early concept, but I still think it needed some work, but I just left it there for now. As I said earlier, I want each different slime in each different stage to have their own kind of unique death animation, but this would be different for the bomb slimes because their death animations would be explosions, and so I needed to make 5 different kinds of explosions. But the thing was, each explosion took a lot of time to make, like a lot of time, especially when I'm getting towards the bigger explosions, more keyframes, and a bunch more work. So I ended up drawing this first slime explosion for my first stage, or my first upgrade slime. I'm happy with how this first one turned out. I think they're just simple, but they look pretty smooth overall, and they'll kind of like explode out, and then they'll just kind of decrease out and get smaller. I'm pretty happy. These ones, the earlier ones, took not too long, but then once I started to make the bigger ones, it was kind of a pain. This took hours, like 2 days or whatever, just making these, or at least 1 day to make these slime explosions. Not gonna act like it just finished it in just a little bit. No, it took a lot of work. I got kind of tired of doing them, but finally when I finished, it was really rewarding. So I'll show you those animations right now. So here's the first bomb slime death. It pretty much just explodes out. It's a pretty small explosion. Then the next bomb slime death does get bigger on that explosion. And then the next bomb slime, of course, just gets bigger. I'm happy with how these turned out, but I think they kind of do get distracting, which is a bit of a shame with the kind of circle in the middle. But I might need to change that, I don't know. Of course, the next one just gets bigger, it's a bigger radius. And then the final bomb slime death is just another big explosion. But as I said earlier, I was kind of dissatisfied with the bomb slime's design. I thought it looked kind of plain and just boring overall. And so I kind of just had a poll out, and I had another guy named Toasted Toast on my Discord. He made some concept art also for a bomb slime, so I thought it looked pretty cool. So I asked the community, and you guys actually voted on my slime, but I definitely wasn't going to keep it, so I wanted to make some changes to it. Now thankfully my Discord community had a bunch of changes that I could make, and a bunch of improvements to my slimes. Thank you to everyone who made some concept art. I really appreciate it. So I ended up going with this kind of slime design by Polar Cube 1. I think it looks really good. It's kind of just an improvement on my old slime, but it does make it look a lot better overall. Then I hopped into Sprite and I started remodeling and kind of drawing and shading all my different bomb slimes. I think those look so much better overall, just adding that brighter colors and improving their kind of like hangy thing that goes in the top right. I think it looks so much better and more natural, and I'm super glad I made these changes. Then I started working on the bomb slime AI, so I had it so he moved like a regular slime, but instead whenever he moves it'll check an overlap circle to see if the player is within a certain radius, and then it will explode the slime. So here you can see that my slime has a kind of explosion radius, and this is just an overlap circle. And I ended up changing this to putting in an update because it just felt much more natural, even though I didn't want to. That kind of had to be done, but it will grow as the slime gets bigger, and when I walk inside of this explosion it will kind of explode and it will hurt the player. Then I imported this simple kind of slime spawn animation, just a simple fade kind of up, and here it is in action. Not too much to it, but I think it looks okay. I also wanted to add some player feedback to tell when the bomb slime is going to explode, so I made this kind of flash white. I figured out how to do this by changing kind of like material, which I'm really happy I figured out how to do it, and I think it makes for a really cool effect. So you can actually tell when the bomb slime is going to explode. It's just a simple effect, but improves the game a lot. The next slime I wanted to make was the kind of ninja or assassin slime, and thankfully my Discord community again also had some really good concept art and ideas for this kind of assassin slime. So I kind of got inspired by two of those kind of things and mushed them kind of into one different slime. Here's what I kind of came up with. He's kind of like a ninja or an assassin. I started making all these different katanas for each different unique slime, and so as they upgrade, their katana will get bigger, have like a bigger hit radius, which I think is another cool effect. And so yeah, that's my kind of idea for the assassin or ninja slime. Then I actually imported my ninja slime or assassin slime. I can't really decide what I call him. I guess I'll call him an assassin slime. But I started importing him to Unity and started getting the AI or whatever kind of stuff just set up, setting up all the different forms and all that different kind of stuff would make him actually run. I actually had an idea to make this guy unique because I didn't want every single slime to feel the exact same, just with different kind of movement speeds and all that kind of stuff. The idea that I had to make this guy unique was to make him kind of a dash ability, and then when he dashes he can also swing his katana. So thank you to Ron O Studios from my Discord for actually giving me this idea. I think it's a pretty cool idea. So whenever I started working on, whenever my ninja slime is within a certain radius, instead of moving, he will actually instead dash towards the player, and so the radius will get bigger as he grows, making him like dash more as he will grow. He can only dash every like 2 seconds or so, but once he does dash he will swing his katana, and it's a pretty cool concept. I really like how it turned out, and it's just a really interesting idea, I think. Another thing you probably saw in this clip is I said the katana will rotate anywhere where the player is. But eventually I thought this kind of felt kind of weird, and it would look weird when the katana was like right below the slime. So I actually ended up changing this so the katana will rotate only within when the player is kind of on the left or the right. It'll still rotate, but it won't be totally static, which I think is a really good addition to my game. It makes it look a bit more natural, but it will still rotate, making it look pretty cool also. Make sure to tell me in the comments or the Discord what you guys like or dislike about this game. I'm really interested to hear your feedback about these like different slimes that I've made so far. Then I made an animation for my katana, so when I press a button, just for testing purposes, it'll actually swing the kind of sword. I think it's a pretty just simple, nice animation, and also it animates the collider, so when my player does get hit, he will actually take damage, and which I think is just a simple animation, but I think it looks pretty smooth, and I'm pretty happy with it. So here's what my kind of dash looked like in game. When I got in the certain radius, my ninja slime will actually dash towards you, and it's just simple. He couldn't attack yet, but his dash was working. I still need to work on animations. I also made this kind of fade, you know, kind of similar to my player's dash, you know, kind of that dash fade ghost effect or whatever you want to call it. But I think it looks fine. Still needs some work overall, but yeah. And here's an example of my actual animations for my katanas actually working. You can see whenever my slimes will dash, I also made them attack. And so yeah, it's just a simple katana swing. It'll actually deal damage, and I'm really happy with how it turned out. And then I started also working on quite a few other things, like getting the spawn animation for the slimes, getting the death animations, upgrading, all that kind of stuff just up and running, getting all that stuff working. Fortunately, I didn't get too much footage of me making the actual animations, but I pretty much made a bunch of tweaks to values, getting the katanas, all that kind of different stuff set up and working. So here's kind of the final result of my katana slimes. They will move towards you, they will dash, and then they can kind of swing their katana at you, and I'm pretty happy with how these guys turned out. I still need a lot of work on them. The death animations still need some fixing up, still need to do that stuff, but I really just want to get this video out here. I was kind of tired of, you know, working on these guys and just wanted to really get my next devlog out. I also want to add some like katana slash animations, all that kind of cool stuff, but I kind of just wanted to end this off here just because I was getting a bit tired of working on them. So yeah, that's pretty much the katana slimes. Well guys, that is going to wrap up the video. Please let me know if you have any suggestions, things you like, things you dislike, about what I did in this devlog. I still need to do some like tidying up and work on a lot of the slimes, tweaking their values, and all that kind of sort of stuff, and just, you know, fixing some minor glitches with their death animations, etc. But I hope you guys did like this kind of 5,000 subscribers, mega kind of longer devlog. I'm really happy with the work that I got done. I worked so much this weekend, so it's really nice that I can kind of wrap up and finish and just actually get this out here. But yeah, if you guys did like this video, make sure to subscribe or like the video. That'd be very much appreciated. And again, thank you so much for 5,000 subscribers. It's kind of insane. And so yeah, if you have any suggestions, you know, my Discord community is really the best place you can reach me. So yeah, bye, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.